Hello, good evening. You're welcome to News Tonight. We're live on GHOne Television. My name is Kemini Amano.
And my name is Kweku Timin. You can trust that tonight we're bringing you all the latest updates that you would want to catch as in news on our local front. We'll tell you about stories happening in our world of business, and then we'll zero into happenings around the world with some international news. Don't forget that we'll spice your evening with some entertainment.
We're also live on GHOne TV on Facebook and GHOne News also on Facebook. The headlines. Filth here, filth there. We assess Accra's readiness with the onset of the rains amid high cholera alert by the Ghana Health Service.
Tonight we'll take you to the eastern region where residents in Kofodia worried over dumping of liquid waste into the Densu River, allegedly by officials of Capital View Hotel.
Also in the news tonight, Child Rights International urges government to implement social protection policies to disengage children in Galamsey.
You'd want to get updates from our world of business, and here Kokobot chairman hints of immediate strategies to clear $20 million debt of cocoa processing company. We'll be getting you more.
In sports brief tonight, Asian comes from bench to score in Indonesia League.
And you definitely want to catch some international updates as the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, who turns 96 in June, is retiring from royal duties in autumn.
You're welcome to News Tonight. In our first story, the Ghana Health Service has put the country on a cholera high alert with the onset of the rains. This has got residents within the capital worried, especially as cholera is filth related. In the following report, Zipporah Osei-Boateng takes a look at challenges impeding proper and efficient waste management in the capital. Obviously, that's our focus for Insight tonight.
Over the years, Metropolitan Chief Executives of Accra, waste management companies, corporate organizations and the general public have tried in diverse ways to eliminate Accra's filth, but still the capital happens to be the filthiest in the country, some reports suggest. Cleanup exercises are often embarked on. The Assembly last year started a national sanitation exercise where the first Saturday of every month is set aside for a general cleanup exercise, yet the filth still remains. Waste management companies are faced with challenges as simple as the inability of some residents to pay for their garbage. It is common to see people dump their refuse in gutters or leave them in the streets. But according to engineer Emmanuel B. Nate Tokoli, Chief Executive Officer of Jacora Ventures, a waste management company, this high indiscipline among the populace, resulting in indiscriminate dumping, fuels the inability to properly manage waste. There is also high costs of maintenance, fuel costs, traffic congestion, and the high cost of operations.
There are challenges with the high level of indiscipline, bad attitudes, and simply people's reluctance to adhere to the system that has been put in place. Because in a way everybody has to contribute to pay for what is the services being delivered. It's understood that a section of the populace are underprivileged and cannot pay, whilst others who are privileged can pay. But then, when you look from the perspective of the waste generators, I think the main challenge has been the level of indiscipline and then the reluctance to pay for the services.
Communications manager of Zoom Lion, perhaps Accra's biggest waste management company, decried the lack of enforcement of bylaws on waste management by the Assembly. He cited the long distance of dumping sites, non-payment of waste collection fees by households as impeding effective waste management in the capital.
One of the major challenges has to do with disposal of waste. You know, when you collect waste from various households, you have the situation that trucks must travel all the way from Accra to Pokuase or Tema. So if you have a truck that is expected to do about 4 trips of waste collection every day, it ends up doing only 2. Because you get to the Tema motorway, there's huge traffic, and then you also get to the mall, there's huge traffic.
To better manage the filth, they both suggested easy flow of traffic, closeness of dumping sites, waste segregation, human discipline and periodic sensitization by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Engineer Emmanuel Nate Tokoli, the Chief Executive Officer of Jacora Ventures, said the Association of Waste Management Companies is working hand in hand with the Ministry of Sanitation to help address Accra's filth.
All right, so we'll stay on waste some more as Insight is focusing on it today. Now, it's not only the AMA that is overwhelmed with improper waste management. Now, even the GHOne municipality is confounded too. Large amounts of uncollected solid waste has engulfed the GHOne Presby Junction, a suburb of the municipality.
Presby Junction is the main transfer point for waste collection for most part of the GHOne municipality. Waste management company GHOne is having a hard time managing the facility since GHOne generates large tons of waste due to its high population. The unavailability of containers and the undue delay of dust carts of the facility causes about 40 trucks full of solid waste with their pushers to line up in a queue for days on the street just to offload their waste. The situation is an unpleasant sight for motorists when there is traffic jam in the area, since trucks full of solid waste take almost half of the outer lane of the main Nungwa-Ashaiman road. These waste pickers go round collecting waste from homes and mostly on market days for a fee. Some of them narrated their ordeal whenever their waste trucks are kept in queues for days.
Bora no wakwane so nte omunya wat na omba sisa de egwo no na fa container mbre
ono ya gimana na ya no ono na de fe ya busiafo no nyina anti sise GHOne fo ya ja tumi se ya betua to asiri no ka no ba sometime obetima babako na okọ omba biem bola no esi ho sa da bia no
The public relations officer of GHOne explains why they are unable to provide containers and dust carts.
Let me say that the issue at Ashaiman is a very a big issue. It is an issue that we are very aware of. Looking at the fact that the volume of waste that comes to that particular end is very huge, and therefore we need to increase the number of containers that we have there. The reason why we are having that problem there has to do with the fact that when the trucks go to the final disposal site to go and dump refuse, you know, because of the recent rains, they are unable to get a platform where they will stand properly and then dump. We are in touch with our Tema branch, and I can say that we will increase the number of containers that we have there. One, we will also try and work seriously with the managers of the dump sites to ensure that we get a very good place to dump, so that the trucks, when they go there, they will not have problems in dumping.
But for residents of Ashaiman, the situation is dangerous when not checked. They fear that with the onset of the rains, the possibility of cholera outbreak in the area is imminent and want government to act immediately.
Well, the caution thrown out is that Ghana would experience more rains. In fact, 90% more rains than it did in 2016. According to the Meteorological Agency, the coastal belt of the country alone will witness a rainfall pattern of 1,200 millimeters in 2017. Now, before we speak with the AMA over Accra's filth, let's have a quick reminder of what this city looks like when it rains.
From Alaju to Kaneshi, Circle to Malam Junction, Dansoman to Sukura, Accra gets flooded whenever it rains. The flooding in Accra mostly have been attributed to poor sanitary conditions in the capital. Plastic waste block major storm drain channels in the capital, thus causing flooding in several communities. Over the years, most residents of Alaju have been displaced, lost properties, and have even lost their lives following the perennial flooding situation that has plagued the community. The situation has largely arisen due to filth. This year, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is predicting a 90% increase in rainfall over what was recorded in 2016.
For some time now, we're having rainfall variability. That is to say that you get so much rain in a particular year, and the following year you get reduced rainfall. And so for 2017, what GMET is saying is that since 2012 up to date, 2017 rainfall pattern, the season will be engulfed with much more rain than the previous years. In particular, so for the coastal region, we expect to get more rains over the coastal region, both East Coast and West Coast.
So the big question is, how prepared are Ghanaians for the rains?
Aforejo, akoreji. Na narakamaga abajinyoku. Amofokron adari. Aforejo akoreji. Tanya like apaki wakata da akoreji fine. Na chiaza na kra. Ashi. Imenwo doro ponchi. Na kata kavo, ime huodo. Ashi yoshina jima.
Ike kanya tenya here if you nyabana ni bi ni hulogata mi oba jo here no agie wo bone eta na kanu eta ika nywa ba agba ni na ma ya nkuru wa ni yan janfio ke e ba shipon keke mba shinya mata mi segbe enka esen ko mu yi gata ni mu na gata sini mu enye clear na netie ni free mu but gata sini nyina choki ensuo ni nko nti eta ya na chese ha nti ahosese de obi emu ha nti yeso yenye hwe ameme ye ma adwen se nka mehwe boys ni bi na omo yi gates ni mu amame na se ne be ya nso ni to a entime ha me.
For many residents living and working in and around the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, the construction of the interchange brought a huge sigh of relief to residents. Many felt it will help alleviate the flooding situation in the country.
So let's have some of those questions raised in that report answered. Joining us over the telephone now is Public Relations Director of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Numo Blafo. Numo, good evening.
Good evening.
Let's start off with waste management. And I'd admit that city authorities have done a lot in managing the waste of the city. What would you say as far as progress is concerned? What has been your assessment?
Well, I wouldn't say, or I wouldn't just have that we talk much success in our waste management because we have a lot of challenges in our waste management situation. We have people who are dumping refuse indiscriminately. We have people who are dumping refuse into drains, our water bodies. And you see, let's not forget also that Accra is a low-lying area. And all these water bodies that come through Accra before they enter into the ocean have their sources from other areas where we don't have control. So normally you see a lot of refuse in our water bodies which are coming from other places. Yet we bore the brunt of all the activities that are engaging by other people. For some time now, what we are doing to actually ensure that anytime it rains, you have the water flowing freely into the ocean is that we identified some of the major drains that we need to actually do the sorting, and that is what we are engaging in now. We are doing the desorting in the Kaneshi drain, the drain that is under the Kaneshi Malam Road. Then we have another one that runs through Sukura that goes into the Chemu and other areas. In fact, the Klote too, which is at Osu. We also dredging the Kole Lagoon. But you see, because anytime it rains, all the stormwater comes with some source. We need to continue to do the dredging. So when it comes to waste management, I would say that we are doing our best, but our best is not the best. Because one, the challenges we have in our waste management issue is that AMA as an entity don't have a dump site or a landfill site of our own. And we have to rely on a landfill site which is even outside the jurisdiction of the assembly, and it's a distance away. So instead of maybe our trucks doing some maybe 5 or 6 trips each day, they are unable to do that. Therefore, we always have a backlog of refuse, and we have people who are not, in fact, disciplined in the managing their waste. People are giving their refuse to Kayabola people who are also putting the refuse at, places where we've not, how do I call it, earmarked for dumping of refuse. So it is a big challenge for us. But all the same, we are trying to manage it so that at least we know that when it rains and there's flooding, the next thing that comes is cholera. And that's
no more. So let's have a conversation about these challenges you mentioned. The recalcitrant city dwellers who continue to dump their waste at unauthorized points. No more. The bylaws are there. What is the challenge in applying the bylaws to these recalcitrant city dwellers?
Even getting them. You can't get them to apply the bylaws. That is the issue. You can't get them because you wake up in the morning and the refuse is there. And you see, and that is, it dovetails into the exercise we did today, because if they are able also to clear all the hawkers from our streets, then the refuse that is generated on our streets minimizes. And in that case, we wouldn't be having much refuse in the city. You understand? So these are the kind of challenges that we are facing.
Is there a way we can deal with these recalcitrant city dwellers?
For now, I don't know, because these people will keep the refuse and then maybe at midnight they drop them at, I don't know whether you haven't seen some before, but maybe passing on even if you pass on the N1, you see pockets of refuse dumped along the road, and even in the median. You go through Kaneshi, you see it. Even in the CBD, you see them. It's a problem which we need to tackle holistically, and we are looking at using our
the impression that you are aware of where these people dump their waste, on the unauthorized areas where they dump their waste. And so I think that you still can't do something about it. But that aside, you say that the city has no dump site. What is the challenge in acquiring a dump site now?
Is getting the land. That is the issue. Because before, what we were doing is we just get an old quarry site, then we fill it. At the end of the day, we cap it. But now we want to move away from that traditional way of dumping of refuse to a more modern way of acquiring the land and then using it as an engineer landfill site, where the refuse that will go there will be separated and then recycled. So that
what is the state of that process?
That's what I'm saying, is the acquisition of land. That is the issue now. Because
just hold on for me. I'll come back to you and ask you what the assurance is in protecting city dwellers from this cholera alert given by the Ghana Health Service. But while you munch on that question, let me move over to Dr. Emmanuel Doche, who is head of disease surveillance at the Ghana Health Service. Good evening, Doc.
Hello, good evening, sir. Hello, good evening.
Absolutely. Now, Doc, how high of an alert is this cholera alert released by the Ghana Health Service?
Please, I think I need to correct myself. I'm not the head of the disease surveillance. I'm a senior public health specialist within the disease.
Well, thank you very much for the correction. But if you could go right to the conversation, how high of an alert is this?
You know, the mode of transmission of cholera, we know that once we are approaching the rainy season, we are expecting the rains to come. And then we all understand that we know very well that our environment is not clean. We know there's poor sanitation, there's indiscriminate disposal of liquid and solid waste. So when the rain sets in, it washes off all these waste material into our sources of drinking water and then contaminates our food sources. So during this time, send out this information so that as an individual, how do I prepare myself to prevent myself from getting cholera? So this alert is first targeting health facilities, targeting authorities to be aware that we still have cholera, which can occur because the risk factors, we have not dealt with them. The risk factors that we talk about, poor sanitation, poor environmental sanitation, and then some communities don't have safe and then regular supply of water. And then we have slum areas where a lot of people live.
So, Doc, Doc, if you can hear me, we get to that bit of the conversation. But Doc, comparatively, when we take 2015 alerts and compare to that of 2017, what would you say the risk is for this year?
Yeah, the risk, the major risk that we always have, the risk factors are still with us. You bear with me that if you move to communities, there's still poor environmental sanitation. There's indiscriminate disposal of liquid waste. All these factors are still with us. So that's why we are saying that until those risk factors are not removed, until they are removed, we're still at risk of getting cholera. So that's why we are issuing this alert. First,
thank you very much, but I'll come back to you and ask you how the GHS is preparing itself for what may be an outbreak of cholera in the coming days. But Numo Blafo, who is the Public Relations Director at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, is still with us here over the telephone. Numo, so as a city dweller, I may observe all the personal hygiene I can, but when I move out of my comfort zone into the rest of the city, where our waste is not properly managed, like in my neighborhood in Ashaiman, where waste is lined up around the city. Again, Ashaiman may not be under your jurisdiction, but we see similar incidents in Accra City itself. What is the assurance that the AMA is giving the city dweller as far as protection from this cholera is concerned?
In fact, as you have said, it's not just about you engaging in personal hygiene. It's about even the way you conduct yourself, what you eat outside and what you should not eat. So when it happens like this, there are certain measures that we take. We issue statements as to what people should do. Maybe people should not eat cold food. People should not, anytime we visit the washroom.
Are you not going to clear the waste, the heaps that we see lined up in many parts of the city? Because, of course, if I want to buy food, I think the cholera education has gone down well enough for me to know that I shouldn't buy cold food in the cold season. But how about the rubbish that is lined up? What are city authorities doing about this?
Sometimes when you ask questions and you don't allow us one time, then you ask another one, it becomes very difficult for us to
Bravo, let's have the conversation. I asked you a question. I asked the follow-up. So respond to the follow-up question.
I'm answering. I haven't finished answering. Then you are asking me another question. So which one do you want me to answer?
No, I just asked the question. Do you have a response to my question?
That's what I'm saying, that you asked me a question, I was answering, and I haven't finished, and then you asked me another one. So which one do you want me to answer?
Answer what I just asked you.
Yes. What I'm saying is that we will keep on cutting away the refuse. For that, we will not renege on that issue. We will keep on doing all we can to make sure that we keep the city clean. And also, we have also identified that, yes, if anytime there is flooding, most of the time the aftermath is the cholera issue. So we also keeping our drains, we're trying to keep our drains open for the free flow of any stormwater so that at least they don't enter into people's homes to actually contaminate their pipe-borne water and all that. That we will do. We will also keep on removing the refuse. But all the same, I think the media too needs to also step up the public education on why people should not be dumping refuse indiscriminately, and that will help.
Numo, I'm afraid we'll leave our conversation here. Thank you very much. Numo Blafo is Public Relations Director at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Unfortunately, because of time, well, I still have Dr. Jochi over the telephone. I'll quickly wrap up with Dr. Jochi, and then we'll move on to some other story. Doc, the Ghana Health Service went under a real strain in 2015 when we recorded unprecedented numbers of cholera cases. Having issued such high cholera alert, what are you doing to prepare yourself in the event the AMA reneges on its promise of clearing the city of the filth and people indeed suffer from cholera cases?
Yes, thank you for that. We actually, if you look at the issue of cholera prevention, it's not only one person effort. I'll first start with the individual. As an individual, you can simply prevent yourself from getting cholera. So there are simple things that you need to do as an individual to prevent yourself from getting cholera. For example, we know that if you can get cholera from drinking contaminated water. So as an individual, first, you have to make sure that the water you are drinking should be safe. And what is a safe water? We say that pipe-borne water, the water produced by the Ghana Water Company, is well treated. It's a safe water to drink. Or borehole. If you have well-done borehole, which is protected, you can drink that one. Or bottled water. So
now, Doc, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it here. Unfortunately, you missed my question, but that is a conversation we'll bring to our viewers in subsequent broadcasts. In the event that the cholera outbreak actually takes place, would want to know what the contingency plan is for the Ghana Health Service. As we saw in 2015, we had to put up a number of makeshift structures to be able to take in all the cases. But that'll be it for Insight. We'll keep an eye on this story and how it develops in the coming days. You're watching News Tonight. Move on to some other stories now.
All right, so we'll now take you to the eastern region where residents living in and around the Kofodia Technical University have expressed worry about the dumping of liquid waste into the Densu River by alleged officials of Capital View Hotel.
According to residents, liquid waste generated by the hotel is discharged untreated into the Densu River. The hotel architects are alleged to have failed to construct soak-away pits to collect the huge volumes of wastewater the hotel produces on a daily basis. Residents allege the practice by the hotel, which has been ongoing for about a decade now, has polluted the Densu River, breeding mosquitoes and emitting a pungent smell. When contacted, the CEO of the hotel, Kingsley Jumo, said the black wastewater generated by the hotel is channeled into a septic tank and subsequently discharged by septic vehicles. He further noted the wastewater discharged into the river is harmless, adding that people no longer depend on the river for drinking.
Child Rights International, a non-governmental organization, has called on government to implement social protection policies to disengage children from illegal mining activities in the country. According to the institution, government cannot deal with illegal mining activities in the country without the existence of any social protection policy.
Executive Director of Child Rights International is appealing to government to turn its attention to developing social protection programs which will tackle the issue of children involved in illegal mining practices in the country. According to him, over 700 children are involved in hazardous works, which is a threat not only to their welfare but to the country as a whole, adding that most of these children are between the ages of 5 to 17 years.
We realize that children are involved in all kinds of work, which also affects their welfare. And some of the work includes children who are involved in cocoa farming, children are involved in galamsey, children are involved in street hawking, street selling, and then also other domestic work. And if you look at the register that they have created, you realize that some of the children are living with people who are late in society that you do not expect that they will engage children in child labor, but they do so. Some include lawyers, doctors, people who matter in society.
He explained that government must take appropriate steps to investigate the condition of children and households in every family in order to support their welfare. He, however, stated that though the country made room for illegality to exist, Child Rights International is ready to support government in fighting against illegal mining, adding that the institution is willing to roll out mentorship programs to assist children freed from child labor.
We are calling on government to make it, to put a social protection programs in place as we design steps to deal with the galamsey issue. And I must say that as organization, we are fully in support of the call to deal with galamsey issues in this country. And in fact, we have even taken it further that those children that we have identified, we are putting up a livelihood support program. Those who want to go to school, we're going to support them. Those who want to go into apprenticeship, we are supporting them. And those who want to go into technical and vocational training, we have identified them and we are going to give them support.
He also made it known that the institution has scholarships available to fund some children who will be identified and freed from child labor.
Let's now do some politics. The municipal chief executive for WA, Isahaku Tahiru Mumin, has assured 100% endorsement, while he's obviously secured 100% endorsement from members of the 44-member assembly of the municipality. Well, a huge crowd of supporters and well-wishers of the president's nominee gathered at the WA Municipal Assembly to witness his confirmation.
NPP and NDC supporters were optimistic that the president's nominee will get a one-time endorsement from the assembly members. Adam Sadmuda is a member of the NPP and he spoke to GHOne News about the president's nominee.
I'm of the view that the development of the region and the municipality is paramount than any other consideration. So on that basis, I feel and I have the firm belief that the honorable assembly members will not disappoint the president. They will not disgrace the president. They will not disgrace the regional minister. They will not disgrace the municipality by rejecting the nominee, but rather confirm and endorse him massively.
Abdullahi Abbas is the WA Central Constituency Secretary of the NDC, and he expressed hope that the president's nominee will be confirmed by members of the assembly. The new MCE, Isahaku Tahiru Mumin, is 39 years and a chartered accountant by profession.
All right, so we're grateful that you're still with us on News Tonight. In a while, we take a break, but when we come back, CPC, that's Cocoa Processing Company, is listed on the stock exchange. We'll find out how Cocoa Board intends to settle their debts. We have this and other interesting details coming up tonight. Do stay with us.
Two guests, one host, forming a panel of 3 lawyers. Each week, discussing relevant legal topics.
As soon as the court grants the adoption order, that child is no longer the child of the natural parent.
There isn't a single text in our law books which would come close to forcing a kid in his mature age to take care of his parents.
The gossips. Yeah. You've heard it's baseless. You move on from house to house discussing it. They can sue you for defamation.
If you go to office and you don't work, when is the end of the month? Feel shy. Don't go to the bank, please.
Some people actually sign prenups at the wedding ceremony. Actually, they sign it first and then they sign the certificate. What is this?
Law Express, be empowered.
This year, GHOne celebrates our amazing mothers.
Welcome back to News Tonight live on GH1 Television with me, Kemini Amana, and
Kweku Temen.
Well, it's time now to introduce Abna Usunyameche, who comes up with Business Brief. Hello, Abna.
Hi, Kemini. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
The Business Brief is brought to you by the National Investment Bank. We've got more stories after this.
Business Brief is brought to you by
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
For 2 months, building in this country is too difficult.
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank We Pay for Your Dream scheme can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB We Pay for Your Dream scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
In our first story tonight, Chairman of Cocoa Board, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, has disclosed that new strategies will be put in place to clear the debts of the cocoa processing company, one of which will be to buy the shares of CPC in order to inject much-needed funds into the company. The board chairman made the disclosure while touring the CPC.
The CPC owes some syndicated banks led by Barclays Bank to the tune of $20 million. CPC is also unable to fulfill its financial obligations to Cocoa Board for the purchase of cocoa beans. CPC's performance on the Ghana Stock Exchange has been anything but impressive over the years. The company, which manufactures Golden Tree brand of chocolates, has been struggling over the years in spite of several recapitalization interventions by government. Cocoa Board owns more than half of the shares in CPC, with the Finance Ministry, SNIT, and the public being minor shareholders. Chairman of the board of Cocoa Board, GHOne News assured management and staff of the CPC of efforts being made to revitalize its operations.
They owe a lot, but if the experts take a look at it, the management practices, the throughput, the output, everything, and they believe they can do it, then what you have to do is maybe ring-fence the debt and then give them some cocoa, let them, for example, process it. And once they process, the amount of money that accrues to them is paid into an escrow account, and a bit of it is given to them. Part of it is used to amortize the loan that they have taken, or they have the debt that they have, and over a period of time, we should be able to get rid of it.
Meanwhile, workers of the cocoa processing company have appealed to government to delist the company from the Ghana Stock Exchange due to its dwindling performance over the years. According to them, it will be financially viable for government to delist and control the company since it is the majority shareholder.
Now, barring any last-minute hitches, Cocoa Board will complete its housing project for workers next year. The 12 flats project comprises of 192 apartments, and it's aimed at easing the burden of finding a fitting accommodation for the Cocoa Board worker.
Each flat comprises 2- and 3-bedroom apartments. Former Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Dr. Oponi Frimpong, began the housing project to give a decent accommodation to workers of the company. The strategic location of the flat at Tema Community 2, near the company, is expected to ease the difficulties associated with commuting to work. Contractors on the project say the facilities will be ready for use by March 2018. Dan Constantine Zeru is project manager of Amandi Construction.
Each building will have 4 stories high. They will be divided in 3-bedroom apartments and 2-bedroom apartments. The ones with 3-bedroom apartments will be 5 buildings, and the one with 2-bedroom apartments will be 7 buildings. We are on schedule, and we will finish until March 2018, accordingly to the contract.
Chairman of Cocoa Board, GHOne News, who was pleased by moves to accommodate workers, said the new board will look into the project to ensure it is satisfactory.
At this construction site, since when we took over, we're told that a contract has been signed for the construction of 192 flats. And so we came to have a look at it. We have just having a look at it. So I think it would be premature to make any statement or judgment on it. But we intended that we would see it, and then so that when something put on paper for us, we can relate it to what we have seen on the ground.
Let's now talk about fruits and vegetables. The sellers are lamenting over the lack of proper storage facilities to store their produce. They say this is having dire consequences on their business as most of their produce get rotten on the market. They have also attributed the phenomenon to the high cost of fruits and vegetables on the market.
For most vegetable and fruit sellers, their major challenge is how to preserve their produce from getting spoiled. Fruit and vegetables are no doubt perishable commodities and mandate rapid sales, or sellers risk losing out on profits. Florence Bello sells vegetables at the Osu Oxford Street. She told the news team business is slow these days and she loses almost 400 cedis a week due to her inability to preserve her fruits for longer periods.
The Oxford Street that we are seeing now is not like the first Oxford Street it used to be, because people don't normally buy of late, and every day some of our things get spoiled too. So if I may say, a whole week we can lose like 300 to 400 cedis.
Adiza, who has been selling fruit and vegetables for over 30 years now, says she has no means of storing her fruits and vegetables. Adiza described the business as lucrative, but lamented that lately she records huge losses, blaming the situation on farmers using chemicals to ripen the fruit before the due time. Adiza says she loses out about 900 cedis a week from her business.
Papa, say, cafe be abrobe, over to a cafe abrobe, ni now the becobola, won't talk a creme boom. A drone dorsum. Yabakao. Omo crown baka, every say, Sardine son will be motaya, Soba baka. Eh, Kadia. Then me bana cafe potato aba. Potato ni nwa ne Ghana o. Holland ne defi buy. Ye bu ekotokuni na nye.
Quite a worrying development, but interestingly, in the studio, people are having conversations as to the number of fruits and vegetables they should consume. We already have a campaign leader. Let's end the business segment tonight with a story. Italian oil company Eni is facing a lawsuit in Milan over damages caused by a pipeline explosion in 2010 in Nigerian village. The villagers want the company to pay €2 million in damages.
The 2010 explosion that happened near a river caused an environmental disaster that polluted water and land. Consequently, the village of Ikebiri, besides the €2 million compensation, is demanding a commitment to clean up the area covering more than 43 acres. But Eni claims it has already carried out cleaning up operations in the area. Eni has been operating in Nigeria since 1962 and producing about 117,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day in 2016 alone. Meanwhile, the Milan Civil Court set December 11th for the first hearing.
And that's all we have for you in Business Tonight. The Business Brief was brought to you in association with the National Investment Bank.
Business Brief was brought to you by
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
And coming up, the man, Bison, they call it Bison, Michael Essien comes from the bench to score for Indonesian side to step in their top flight league. More details coming up after this break.
Sports Brief is brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Castlegate Estate Ghana Limited has evolved with new management and administration and positioned itself to serve you better. Seize this opportunity to do business with us by reserving a plot this year and start your own construction today. Castlegate Estate also has near complete or shell houses and serviced plots at prime locations on offer for sale at Katamanso, Tema Community 22 and 25 extensions, Dodoa and Prampram at very affordable prices. Our fully serviced plots come with electricity, pipe-borne water and road network. These plots are now selling fast. Just call our new management team and book appointment for free site visits. Castlegate Estate. We make home ownership easier.
Welcome back from the break, and Michael Essien, Black Stars midfielder Michael Essien climbed from the bench to help Jan Pasir Bandung record another one win over Gresik United in Indonesian top flight. So Michael Essien, hey, who says it's not top form? Michael Essien is still scoring. After 4 games, he has scored 1 goal.
Ghana midfielder Michael Essien came from the bench to help Giants Pasir Bandung record a narrow 1-0 win over Gresik United in the Indonesian top flight on Wednesday. Essien replaced Atep Ahmed Rizal in the 67th minute as Fragentious Billy Kev grabbed an injury time winner for the visitors at the Petrokimia Stadium. There were concerns about the availability of the 34-year-old after coach Janjan Nojaman revealed the Ghanaian is struggling to cope with the tough weather conditions. But the former Chelsea, Real Madrid and AC Milan midfielder appears to have overcome his nightmare after enjoying some game time. The African has scored 1 goal in 4 matches since joining the ambitious Indonesian outfit.
So the question will be whether Michael Essien is still fit to play in the Black Stars. The debate will be on, but I think that he still has more energy. Maybe even 20 minutes for the Black Stars in any game will be very important for the so-called Coach Kwesi Appiah. She'll have a second thought about the so-called, in quotes, the aged. But Michael is still scoring. And still, after a lengthy recruitment process, the South African Football Federation, that is SAFA, has officially announced Stuart Baxter as their new Bafana Bafana head coach before their game against Nigeria.
Baxter, 63, will be officially unveiled as the head coach by SAFA President Denny Jordan upon his return to South Africa from CAF and FIFA commitments. We are pleased to have finally reached agreement with SuperSport United on the release of Coach Baxter, said SAFA CEO Dennis Mambo. SAFA believes that the coach has the necessary skills to navigate the tough qualification path for the Africa Cup of Nations and the FIFA World Cup, he continued. Now, Baxter will meanwhile continue to fulfill his coaching responsibilities at the club for the remaining 4 ABSA Premiership fixtures, as well as the Nedbank Cup and Confederations Cup. Baxter previously mentored South Africa for a year between 2004 and 2005 and shortly resigned after Bafana Bafana failed to qualify for the 2006 Soccer World Cup.
So is Baxter going to lead Bafana Bafana against the Eagles of Nigeria? Elsewhere, a soccer player in Brazil by name Lima had been managed to evade capture since an October kidnapping. Was arrested Wednesday in the middle of his team's match. He was sitting on the team's bench when the police grabbed him.
A soccer player in Brazil who had managed to evade capture since an October kidnapping was arrested Wednesday in the middle of his team's match. Marlon Nathaniel de Lima Alexandre, a 21-year-old player for Supercianci in the Campeonato Gaúcho Second Division, was approached by police as he sat on the bench. He was wanted on 4 arrest warrants, according to local outlet Gaúcha, including one for his alleged participation in a violent kidnapping. A 67-year-old woman was kidnapped at gunpoint outside a mall in October, and the attackers used her credit cards to make about $1,400 in purchases. Police had been unable to locate Lima until learning that he played for the club. The club's president called Lima's arrest a sad surprise.
Well, unfortunate, you can run, but you can't hide. So, right in the middle of a match, he was arrested on the team's bench. That is all for sports. I'm handing you over to Kweku and Kemini.
Sports Brief was brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Well, sad for Lima.
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit happening there. I mean, and I wonder if you have such a talent, a footballer, why do you go out there probably robbing and the like?
I don't have a response to that, but that's what happens when you don't harness, the talents of people. They find other ways of, putting food on their tables.
It's sad in Brazil, but hey, if you do it in Ghana, probably it might be your wedding and you'll not be happy about it.
Yeah, that one is like...
How's the weather looking like?
Let's go find out.
All right, it's on your screen shortly.
The weather is brought to you by...
All right, so quite recently, it was business mogul Dr. Papa Kwesi Indium who was giving you projections into the time he is resigning. Now it is the Prince of Edinburgh. Well, she's here to tell you about it. Are you all ready?
Absolutely. International Brief with Lerato Lesoso.
Well, good evening, Kweku and Kamini, and a very good evening to our viewers. Time now to have a look at news making headlines across the world. And tonight we start off in the United Kingdom. Yes, the Duke of Edinburgh is retiring from his royal duties this autumn. Buckingham Palace has announced that Prince Philip, who turns 96 in June, made the decision himself and the Queen supported him. At an earlier event, the Duke was heard saying he can't stand up much anymore. The Duke will attend already scheduled engagements between now and August, but will not accept new invitations. Meanwhile, the palace said the Queen will continue to carry out a full program of official engagements. And now let's quickly just go through some of the five facts about the Duke of Edinburgh. He will be turning 96 years old next month, and he has 70 years of those 96 years as a Queen's companion. So that's a very long marriage there. And in his time, 110 days of engagements. Well, not necessarily in his time, but only in 2016. That just shows you how busy he's been. And 785 organizations have him as a patron president or a member, and then 4 million people have taken part in the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. That's amongst the many things that he has done as a part of the Duke of Edinburgh in his time. He's 96 next month, so I'm sure UK is ready to let him go. Now, moving on to next breaking news internationally is that President Donald Trump has signed an executive order making it easier for churches to support political candidates. Let's listen into what he had to say earlier on today.
Because we're a nation of believers. Faith is deeply embedded into the history of our country. We realize how truly blessed we are to live in a nation that honors the freedom of worship. Today, my administration is leading by example as we take historic steps to protect religious liberty in the United States of America.
I must say it's quite a breath of fresh air to see President Donald Trump in this kind of mode. We should see more of that side of him going forward. Finally, closer to home in Africa, what was breaking in Africa, unfortunately, is a sad, tragic story there where Somalia security forces have shot dead a 31-year-old government minister after mistaking him for a militant Islamist. He was killed in his vehicle near the presidential palace in the capital, Mogadishu. Reports say the president has cut short his visit to Ethiopia following Abbas Abdullahi Sheikh's killing. Abbas grew up in a refugee camp and became Somalia's youngest member of parliament in November and a minister in February. Condolences to the nation of Somalia and his family, of course. This is such a tragic incident. That's all we have time for tonight on our international segment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Over back to you, Kweku and Kamini.
Thank you for bringing us international news. Very sad incident.
If you ask
Somalia.
me, he wills the potential of being a president in Somalia some time to come, but he's just wasted like that.
Yeah, and the Duke, though, I think it's time for him to go and breathe some fresh air. Yeah, in 2011, he made, that announcement at his 90th birthday, and now he's actually followed through with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's done quite well.
The Duke's
785 organizations.
And he's serving on those boards as president or something. He's done a lot.
Yeah,
he's
very busy man. Yeah.
All right.
Check out GHOne now.
Absolutely.
Music is set to ease our minds and soothing our souls. A hidden jewel located in Accra, Kofi Atentimbeng and his band have been luring crowds with their rhythmic sounds for over 20 years.
Atentimbeng is two instruments together, Aten and Abeng. So Aten is a drum, and the Abeng is the wind instrument, the horn. So they play together. We play the jazz, We play the traditional instrument, traditional music from Ghana, all type of traditional. As you can see, we play from the north to the east, south, and everywhere. In the Vuta, we play all kind of tunes.
Here, a variation of atentembengs coupled with other instruments are used to produce melodic tunes that enthrall our senses. This musical talent has been passed on from countless generations in order to preserve Ghana's heritage and culture.
Without this instrument, I don't think I'll be living now, you know. Yes, it's very great into my heart and my body and my soul. So this is the best instrument ever, you know, came to met on this earth.
Cowbell Vita-Rich formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs. Great tasting Cowbell with Vita-Rich has the 28 vitamins and minerals you need to be at the top of your game. Delicious, nutritious Cowbell with Vita-Rich, our milk.
A little helping hand will go a long way to get your meals tasting really delicious. So season your cooking with Unger for that delicious taste and irresistible aroma that will get your loved ones looking forward to mealtimes.
Sometimes it will be great for you to be part of the conversations that go on backstage, but we'll keep that away from you. I enjoyed your company tonight.
Same here. I did, as always, And we enjoyed having you watching us tonight. Do same tomorrow. That'll be all for News Tonight this evening. My name is Kimini Amano.
My name is Kweku Timi. We'll catch you tomorrow. But State of Affairs comes up shortly with
you. Bye-bye.
Hey, yo, but why you deflex me? Why you think say I be 20? My phone always the ring, cause the girls I get plenty. Flex. Hey, yo, but why you deflex
You
me?
deflex, so.
Everybody they blow me fans, like I be some new big star. Social media guru, I dey keep up with the trends. Fast internet, I dey connect with my friends. Charlie, I for flex you. Quality movie on my screen straight from YouTube.
Hey, mama, who flex you?
I get money from my phone to make I sort you. We dey chill for Facebook like Ice Cube. With Airtel Flex, enjoy more of what you like. Watch movies, stream videos and songs, get free social media all day long and exciting money backs. Whatever your style is, we have a package for you. Dial *125# to choose your flex. Now, you dey flex.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hello there, and you're most welcome to television's best experience.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
This is beautiful.
Even while we sleep.
I really want you to come go with me on this exciting journey.
Say I dey come, that bar. When they say I dey go, that bar.
This is the beast. This is the Rolls Royce Phantom.
When they see me out of town, that bar. When they see me for my hood,
It's fun, it's insightful, it's exclusive. This is Revealed. My name is Bolare, and this is my show.
Catch Revealed this and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. with a repeat